Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemons, and with the new Deadpool Wolverine trailer, we got to see some great looks at the evil Cassandra Nova, played by Emma Corrin, who played Princess Diana in The Crown. If you don't know Cassandra Nova, she might be one of the hardest villains in Marvel. When I say hardest, I mean a complete heel. She's pretty horrible and insane. And I normally love villains, but she's just too much for me sometimes. Now that the evil twin has entered the chat, we have so many ideas of where she could go, what she's doing, and how she's probably overseeing Battleworld, acting as our new Dr. Doom. Maybe she forced Wolverine to kill all the X-Men. Maybe she killed Wong and stole his sling ring. There's a million theories here with loads of evidence, and I'll take us through what is more evident of happening and her overall plan in Deadpool and Wolverine the movie. But first, you can support New Rockstars by checking out some of our awesome merch options available right now at nerdriot.shop. We dropped 2 new shirts inspired by the latest Deadpool and Wolverine trailer, plus you can grab some awesome merch inspired by X-Men 97, the series. There's new merch added all the time, so go on and support the channel and check out nerdriot.shop. I have the break room merch, because the break room's got new merch. Go support Evan. He's my baby. So you might be asking, who the hell are you? Well, Cassandra Nova might be the coolest, worst villain in the world. So Cassandra Nova first appeared in New X-Men issue number 114, and the Shi'ar called her the Mumudrai. The Mumudrai essentially is like a shadow of a twin. It's believed by the Shi'ar people that every being has this bodiless form, and Charles Xavier's was Cassandra Nova. She copied Xavier's DNA to create her body, thus being sort of like a twin. After a little fight in the womb, Charles sensed Cassandra's evil presence and tried to kill her, then causing Cassandra to be a stillborn. To everyone's surprise, Cassandra actually ended up surviving, clinging to a sewer wall, mending her physical form, and really aiming to just mess up Charles, her brother. Cassandra was able to find a master mold, and kind of like we're seeing in X-Men 97, she used Donald Trask, Bolivar Trask's cousin, to activate it. Then killing Trask, she merges with his body and sends giant sentinels to Genosha and wrecks Genosha. She also switches minds with Xavier and outs him and the X-Men to everyone and leaves with Lilandra. The reason Lilandra and Shi'ar are so important to me is because at this point, Cassandra, as Xavier, takes control of their Imperial fleet and destroys everything and creates a psychic creature made up of random body parts of all the people she controlled, and that is insane. So Cassandra Nova is truly a menace to society, like an old menace to society, though here she's like super young. She might as well be James McAvoy's Xavier's twin from First Class. The more interesting parts of her storyline though in the comics is how much it sets up or blends with her first appearance in Deadpool and Wolverine. Not only are we seeing the destruction of Genosha and introducing the Shi'ar Empire in X-Men 97 currently, but through Deadpool and Wolverine's trailer, I think we're led to believe Cassandra is bad, but ultimately she's working alongside Deadpool and Wolverine. However, only slightly, just a little bit. In different ways, it doesn't have to be a good or bad justification for helping them, but I think there's a lot of ways Cassandra's really playing chess here. Like in the idea that she's running Battleworld, acting as a sort of Dr. Doom, if you will. There's a theory that the Void that we see in Loki could be Battleworld for the MCU since we're already seeing it. It kind of resembles Battleworld from the comics, and since it exists outside of space and time, it's not really affected by random disasters like incursions. Since Battleworld is a planet built out of destroyed realities after the multiverses collapse from incursions, it makes sense to just send people to the Void, a place that's been home to a lot of different prune pieces of different universes, realities, and just people, which the TVA could be doing knowingly this entire time, or just so happens to be the right safe haven for a multiversal collapse at the right time. You know what I'm saying? This would work with the theory that's been floating around that Battleworld would appear in Deadpool and Wolverine, but also segues us nicely into Secret Wars. It's important to remember, some folks don't know what Battleworld is. They don't know Cassandra Nova, the wreckage she caused via the comics. They don't watch our YouTube videos. And building a case for all of that in Deadpool and Wolverine all of a sudden from the pile of stuff we currently have in the MCU would be really hard to do. They'll probably reference X-Men's 97's Genosha genocide to explain how Cassandra originally did it, maybe in a different universe, maybe eventually intercepted by the TVA, and you'll understand the impact and how crucial it was because we already saw it in X-Men 97. They'll use the Void as Battleworld because we're familiar with it. There's no need for explanation there. It's easier to learn these things when you've already seen it or some pre-known correlation you can make with it. If it's brand new, you'll all just be like freaking confused, so they're gonna make these connections. In the first trailer, we see that Secret Wars comics, or our little ears perked up with the idea that they'll be introducing Dr. Doom, or maybe seeing Dr. Doom using the Beyonders to make Battleworld, which is still very possible. But after seeing Ant-Man's skull and other mutants from the newest trailer surround it, it looks like this area is under siege or protected by Azazel, Lady Deathstrike, Pyro, Callisto, Toad, and Sabretooth, and their ultimate leader is Cassandra. What I love about the different ideas of Battleworld is they're different towns. In one comic line, a section of Battleworld was home to like all the female superheroes, and She-Hulk was its commander or leader. This could be the same situation. In the first season of Loki, we saw the different factions of Loki, like President Loki and his goons. So in the Void or on Battleworld, there can still be areas taken refuge by the stronger characters with their own agendas. We saw in the first trailer as well Cassandra's big old noggin overlooking the mutants that we see in the trailer from a different POV, so it's clear she's the captain now. It's also likely that these mutants could be under Cassandra's mind control, as she's known to swap minds and control thoughts. She used it on Beak to bludgeon Beast in the comics. She's one stone cold son of a bitch. Regardless, that wouldn't take away from my theory that Cassandra commandeered this area or all of Battleworld and is just stuck there playing with the only only pieces she has left. I also think Cassandra found a way to actually control Eliath, and in the first trailer, we see Eliath's cloud swoop up the TVA agent, and maybe I can explain how Cassandra Nova can control Eliath in a different video. Cassandra's clearly in no rush to leave when we see Wade and Logan jump through the portal and she's standing there menacingly as they exit gleefully. This portal opened in the trailer and clearly it's done by a sling ring, but whom's? The idea that Doctor Strange opened one up ready to save Wade and Logan feels just like too easy for me, especially with Cassandra allowing them to escape. This could be a power move just to show how unfazed she is with letting them escape, but I think Cassandra opened it up for them. If she's commandeered this dead Avenger skull, clearly they've also stolen loads of Kamar-Taj mystic art items that have also been pruned. We alluded to this in our breakdown of the trailer, that the floors resemble Kamar-Taj's, and so does the furniture. It kind of reminds me of evil Doctor Strange's home in Multiverse of Madness. Also, on her armchair, is that a red quilt or the cloak of levitation? It would also make sense, or just it sound for Cassandra Nova to be the most disrespectful person and just sit on Doctor Strange's cloak and just use it as a blanket during tea time. The audacity in that. I don't think she's a variant of the Ancient One, no matter how much they're actually twins, but I do believe she's opened them that portal using a random sling ring. She also has blood on her face going down her chin, and I bet Wolverine's first action was to fight, as he's known to first fight, ask questions later. Him and Deadpool probably got one good lick in and she was like, no more of this. I used to wake up tired, and there is nothing more frustrating than waking up tired. It's like, what? I just woke up. It feels unfair. But then I started using Beam Dream, and now I wake up feeling rested, which is a much better way to start my day. Dream helps me fall asleep faster, and I wake up feeling more alert and better rested. It's a super tasty nighttime cocoa available with or without CBD. Dream comes in a variety of truly delicious flavors like cinnamon cocoa, chocolate peanut butter, and sea salt caramel. The new Rockstars office has some hot takes on their favorite flavors, but I'm team chocolate peanut butter all the way. Dream is gluten-free, non-GMO, keto-friendly, vegan, and so good. One serving of Dream has no added sugar, is only 15 calories, and depending on what version you get, also contains ingredients such as melatonin, magnesium, and reishi extract to help you fall asleep and get the most restful sleep possible. I love that Dream has high-quality sleep ingredients that leave me with zero grogginess the next day. In a clinical study, 93% of participants reported Dream helped them get a better night's sleep and wake up feeling more refreshed. Beam's Dream is clinically shown to improve sleep. Click the link below or scan the QR code and use code ROCKSTARS to get up to 35% off. I also think the bigger picture here is that they're all still alive. Wolverine, Deadpool, and Cassandra are not dead. Since Wolverine and Deadpool have those regenerative powers, it doesn't seem likely Cassandra could even kill them, but she could put them through hell, as we see her use Wolverine as a puppet in the trailer. Ultimately, the reason I think that she's allowing them to go through the portal and not stopped is either so Cassandra could see where they're going to follow them, or she willingly supplied them that portal, and I think her beef with Wolverine is what ultimately has him working alongside Cassandra in the movie. In this trailer, they mentioned this Wolverine let his world down, and Wolverine mentions he's no hero. And he's like, much more emo here, and I kind of hate it, but like, what did he do? A lot of this could follow the Old Man Logan run. Realistically, this is completely already looking like the Mark Miller Old Man Logan run, where everything's like Mad Max, and instead of a giant Ant-Man, there's a giant dead Loki, though there is a giant Ant-Man, and that's Pym Falls. It's the city around the skeleton. They even featured the Fantastic Four cars that we see on the set photos that was released a while ago. In the Old Man Logan run, we see the night the X-Men died, and the X-Mansion was ambushed by a bunch of villains, and Wolverine went freaking ham on all of these villains. Like, he was slicing them apart, ripping them to shreds. Then Mysterio, who we saw in Spider-Man Far From Home, revealed that he wasn't really slicing up the villains. He was slicing up his friends, all of the X-Men. He straight up murdered them, ruthlessly murdered, which drove him to madness because, you know, who wouldn't be driven to madness after killing their friends this way? Instead of the scene playing out with Mysterio, who respectfully was kind of made to be a punk bitch from Far From Home, and giving that murderous victory to Cassandra would make more sense and would give way to their immediate hatred towards one another. If Cassandra mind-controlled Wolverine to kill all the X-Men, it's not surprising she probably blocked out that she was the one controlling him, or making it seem like the villains were ambushing the X-Men in the first place. My least favorite quality of Wolverine is that he sulks too much, and it's not surprising he's taking complete blame for killing all the X-Men, thus having no superhero save the day. This playing into how he mentions he's not a hero in the trailer. His world could have been collapsed because he killed all the superheroes his world had. If we don't want to get that dark, because that is horribly sad and dark to see him kill like Jubilee and Storm, Cassandra could be the mastermind behind Genosha's falling, and Wolverine couldn't stop her. Once wiping out the mutants, she could have sought more vengeance before being seized and pruned by the TVA. In Cassandra's origin story, she believed only her and Charles was real, and if she killed him, she could run the universe in her own image. This wasteland of a world could be that image, and that's all that's left is the evil mutants that work alongside her and Wolverine. There's also the possibility, of course, that Cassandra is simply just the MacGuffin. Though Cassandra seems happy in her little Ant-Man head, she could also be stuck here because why would anyone wants to live in a world where Eliath is there just eating people. What I love about Deadpool movies is I love them. And what I hate about Deadpool movies is they make everything a joke. And when I say I hate it, I mean it's a funny joke, but it's my job to overthink everything. And now I have to write a breakdown of every time Deadpool was pegged. It's just like, I get it. It was a joke. And in the way that it's a joke, Cassandra Nova could really just end up being Mystique or Morph, saving face to keep ruling this side of the mutants. But I highly doubt it because Morph can only replicate their powers if it's like physical powers, and Mystique can't really replicate anyone's powers. It's always an extension of herself. However, no one has ever really escaped the void but Loki, Sylvie, and Mobius, who had to use a temp pad to do it. So I could see Cassandra scouring this world for a temp pad to leave and hasn't found one yet. And that would make sense why in her Mad Max style area we saw a prisoner TVA agent. Essentially, her and Wolverine are in a prune timeline and they now coexist in it together. That's why later in the newer trailer we get this exposition from the now broken nose TVA agent that didn't have that earlier. He probably got it from Wolverine after Deadpool brought him back to the TVA. So if Cassandra is one of many bad guys in the void and Wolverine and Deadpool are actively pursuing her, who really is the bad guy? I think this is the TVA, and it's my understanding this is the new TVA that happened in Loki season 2 that don't really care about the void and what happens there, but don't recognize the void will be home to a ton of people following the multiversal collapse of incursions. The TVA knew most, but they didn't know all. Most of Loki was them constantly trip falling into solutions. So it's not surprising they don't know how to handle a ton of incursions happening thanks to Kangs or any other major events. They just prune and continue, and those prune will live on as our secret wars. Ultimately, I don't think there's anything Wade can do to actually save his world or anyone else's. We know where the MCU is headed, and even Ant-Man questioned whether or not he's actually saved the day. There's also a possibility that the villain is simply Paradox, Matthew McFadden's character, who could be working like Katie Dickey's character did, General Dox, in Loki season 2, simply just trying to overturn the new TVA's new structure using Deadpool. The TVA doesn't need to be explicitly bad or good, but I don't think there's a happy ending regardless, and Cassandra is just there as a side villain. Ultimately, realistically, I think Cassandra is the MacGuffin. Her plan is to get out of the void and interrogate any TVA agent that enters the void that includes Deadpool. I believe this timeline that they're in was the prune timeline that does follow the Old Man Logan comics. It's just a wasteland like Mad Max with different random vehicles. So we're looking at Wolverine's reality that was pruned due to Cassandra's actions, and honestly, keeping her in the void is safer than letting her out. She is a walking Nexus event, seeing as she was supposed to die in the womb and not survive, and that was probably just like where her Nexus event started. Comment down below what you think Cassandra's plan is overall. I think she's just the MacGuffin. I don't think she's really the bad guy. Follow me at Lulu_Clemons. Subscribe to all 3 channels in the new Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.